little bit. Let's talk about building a proper financial future. All right. We talked about how to become financially dependent. No one seemed to want to do that. So let's talk about building a proper financial future and how we're going to. You want to save $1 million. How would you do it? There's going to be two columns here. One is the years to save. Okay. And the next one is how much savings you need to do per month, assuming a 10% rate of return. So you can see having the right mentality. Let's go through it real fast. What is the right mentality? Remember this, energy comes from emotion. All right, your energy comes from the emotions that you feel. Many times people say, Jermaine, how come you have so much energy? You are always high energy. Why? Because I have the right emotions. Today, we're going to have some fun, all right? We're going to have some fun today. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to jump right into it because we do not have a lot of time. A little bit. Let's talk about building a proper financial future, all right? We talked about how to become financially dependent. No one seemed to want to do that. So let's talk about building a proper financial future and how we're going to do that. I like to talk about the X curve, right? This, like it says, there is a concept that theorizes a person's responsibility. And here's what you got to understand. Over time, a person's responsibility generally decreases, right? It generally goes down, the red line that you see there. Over time, our responsibilities go down. So, you know, as we're of age, as we're, getting older, the kids grow older. They need us less. The mortgage payments, as we pay the mortgage, in theory, the mortgage should come down. We should owe less to the bank. You know, in theory, our student loans should come down. We should pay those off, right? So all of our responsibilities should decrease as we get older. Yes or yes? Now, at the same time, if we do it correctly, wealth should increase. As we put money aside, as we save, as we invest, as we grow our money, the wealth should increase. So there's two things happening at the same time. The law of decreasing responsibility, okay? So things are pulling less of our money. So in the beginning, right, we're less secure. When we're talking about over here, we're less secure. Why? Because we don't have a lot of wealth. We're just starting. The wealth is low. The money is low. We haven't built anything yet. And we have a lot of responsibilities. But as time goes, this line crosses. And you'll see here, it meets at the cross point where our responsibilities have gone down significantly, but we've managed to put something away. And we see some substantial savings, some substantial wealth. And when those two lines cross, and the wealth starts to increase while the responsibility goes down, you become more secure, right? Security becomes more there. So let's look at it. In the beginning, high responsibility. The income is what? Temporary. We're spending money on food, on shelter, education, on health, debts, loans. All of these things are there. The big question needs to be asked, what if you die too soon? What if you die too soon? Now, on the other part of this, we have no savings. We're younger. We work hard for the money and we're taking care of the family. So this equals less security. On the other side now, we have built up the wealth. So we're not living on the income anymore. We're living on the interest of our investments, of our savings. By the way, this is what's called financial independence. This is what we're working for, right? This is what we're building. So the food, the shelter, the education, the health, the debts, the loans, some of those things might still be there, but you're living off of the interest now. That way you can answer the question, what if I live too long, right? If I outlive my money, something should be there to take care of me. And the responsibility goes to what? Zero. You're older now. Money's working for you in the future and taking care of your future. Make sense? So this is the X curve and how we should position ourselves so that our responsibilities is going down and our wealth is going up. Some people have the X curve upside down. What do I mean by that? And we can do a training how to have the X curve upside down, where your wealth is going down and the responsibility is going up. This is not a good situation to be in, right? We don't want to be in that situation. Make sense? So a couple of things I want to point out to you. You got to have it built properly. From the ground up, you need to build it. Meaning what? The foundation. You know, many times in our community, people think the foundation of a good financial future is having a what? Real estate investment property. When in fact, it's protection. Protection comes first. Why is protection first? Because you want to protect whatever you're going to build. If you don't protect it and it comes crumbling down, you got to start from scratch again, right? So protection comes first. That is the foundation. Imagine building a house and there's no foundation. How many of you would live in that house? How many of you would be so secure to live in that house? You know, in the Bible, it says the wise man built his house on the rock, and the foolish man built it on the sand. The protection is the rock, right? And then on top of that, you have debt management. You start to reduce your debt, and there's strategies to reduce your debt, right? And then on top of that is the emergency fund. So you do it in this order. You have the protection, you've gotten rid of your debt. Now you start to focus on putting some emergency money aside, right? You still don't go out and do the big investments yet. You put some emergency fund aside. Why? So you don't end back up in debt. You don't go backwards. You don't reverse. Have you seen those cars that is trying to move and, you know, it's on a little bit of a slope, and as it's pressing the gas, it keeps going backwards? You don't want to go backwards here. The lack of an emergency fund will cause you to go backwards. The next one is investment. Once you have these things in place, then you start to invest. You see people in the community, they want to do investment first. Then something happens, they have to sell the investment prematurely. They end up losing more money than they invested, and they say it doesn't work. Investing doesn't work. When they started building the house, the financial house, from the wrong way up, right? They started building with the roof. And no one builds a house and starts with the roof. You start with the foundation, right? You want to save $1 million. How would you do it? There's going to be two columns here. One is the years to save, okay? And the next one is how much savings you need to do per month, assuming a 10% rate of return. So you can see here, if you're age 25, as an example, right? And you're going to, let's say you want to hit that goal by age 65, that's 40 years. You need to put $179 away every month, right? Every month you do that, by the time you're age 65, at 10%, assuming a 10% rate of return, you'll hit $1 million. Now, what happens if you wait 10 years? Now you're 35. So instead of putting $179, you see the circle gets bigger? The circle gets bigger. Now you have to put $481. So instead of 179, now you're putting 481. And the challenge with this is, if you couldn't put $179 10 years ago, what I've seen is chances are you're not going to be able to put $481 at age 30. Why? Because savings largely is a habit. A large part of savings is habitual. Okay? And if you wait until you're 45, so another 10 years, look at that. it grew to $1,382. Look at this. Look at this. When the person was 25, they could have hit their $1 million goal with 179, but they waited until they're 45. So they have 20 years to go. That number grows to almost $1,400. You see, the circle is getting bigger and bigger every time. And if they wait another 10 years till age 55, where they have 10 years to go, it's nearly impossible. Now it's almost $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month. And it's unfortunate, right? It's very unfortunate. And you ask me, you say, Jermaine, why are you so passionate about what you do? It's because, A, two things. I want to help people, number one, that they don't make that mistake. And B, if they have fallen into that mistake or sometimes circumstances or whatever the case is, I want to help them out of it. I want to be able to put them in a position that they're not held trapped by that, so that they can have a vision and they can have hope and belief and be inspired about the future. Be excited about the future. And that's what makes me excited about what we're doing, how we're helping families. Because many people have this problem. They just don't know that they have this problem. And that's the sad part, right? That's having the right mentality. Let's go through it real fast. What is the right mentality? Remember this, energy comes from emotion. All right, your energy comes from the emotions that you feel. Many times people say, Jermaine, how come you have so much energy? You are always high energy. Why? Because I have the right emotions, right? I have the right emotions. Remember this, energy comes from emotion. Number two, strengthen yourself spiritually. I'm not talking necessarily about religion, although I am religious, right? I believe spiritually through God. But you got to find a way to strengthen yourself spiritually, whatever that is for you. Number three, serve. Find a way to serve. Find a way to help people. Find a way to give back. We live in a society where everyone wants to take. What is in it for me, right? You hear this mindset all the time, this language. What is in it for me? How about what is in it that we can give and serve, right? Number four, have clear objectives. We spent a lot of time talking about that today. Having clear objectives, where you want to go. Number five, when you have a goal, you got to have a plan and you got to have a why. Many people forget about their why. The why is what keeps you going. The why is what keeps you on the path. It's what keeps you continuing. Number six, remember this, we all want to be happy. There's not a human being alive that they don't aspire to be happy. We just want to be happier. That's why we do what we want. Why do you think you wrote all of those meanings down of financial independence? Because you think at some deep level, it's going to make you happier. And that's what we all want. Remember that, right? Remember that. We all want to be happier. Number seven, we lose our whys when we bump into pain. You know, our mind is designed for us to forget the reason why we're doing something when we hit a little bit of pressure, a little bit of objection, a little bit of rejection, right? We start to forget, hey, why am I making the sales call? Why am I having appointments? Why am I sitting with families and going through this ridicule and people laughing at me? Why am I showing up at the gym and going through all of this pain and I'm sore and I hurt my ankle? And we forget our whys when we bump into pain, when we have a little bit of pain, a little bit of rejection, a little bit of hurt, it knocks our whys out. We forget about it. We can't ever forget our whys. We can't ever lose our whys. Here's a question for you. What are you going to do about your energy and your focus? What are you going to do? Remember, energy comes from emotion. What are you going to do about your energy and your focus? Because these are the two key elements for you to get where you need to get to financially independent-wise. It's your energy and your focus, right? You lose the energy, you lose your focus, nothing happens. Have you seen someone with no energy and no focus? Nothing happens, right? And number 9, what do your ears eat? And what do your eyes eat? Goes back to the results matrix. What do your ears eat? What are you listening to? Right? What are you seeing? What are you programming with your eyes and your ears? It's so important, right? And I'm going to end with this. The secret to your success is determined by your daily agenda. Look at your agenda today, yesterday, the last week, right? You will see your success lies in your daily agenda. I want to tell you something. You got to make your calendar your boss. Your calendar should be your boss, right? Whatever you need to do, you put it down in your calendar, you write it down. And if you don't do it today, carry it over to the next day. Your agenda, your daily agenda, you can find your success or your failure in your daily agenda, right? Make your calendar your boss. Listen, I really pray and hope and wish that today was able to bring you some value, some shift, something to move you to the next level, something to help you, right? Take you to the next level. That's my prayer. My prayer is that you'll have a better life and success and to be more happy. God bless you. Have yourself an amazing night, and we'll see you next Monday on Money Monday. Take care.